Well, since we're already here and we have this, what if we wanted to include it? What would we do? It's in the from table, so you do a, nope, wrong one. See, this is the thing that I always get messed up on, left or right. It's right. So we do what's called a right join, which basically means that anything that exists in the recipe table, the recipe, oh, that's why. Anything that exists in the joining table, not the from table, the original table, I want to include anything that doesn't have a corresponding thing in the other table. You would do a right join to include things from the joining table, the right table. As you can see, I can never keep it straight in my head, so I normally have to do both to make sure I'm doing the correct one. But you can see here, now this is being included even though it doesn't have a photo to include. You can imagine this being useful if we're trying to include like a result set for all of our recipes. We want to include recipes that don't have photos. That's totally fine that they don't have photos. They should still be shown on the site, and we'll show some default thing. That's what a right join is useful for. If for some reason we had photos that didn't have recipes, then we would use left join, right? If you want to include both, I think it's full join, if I remember correctly. Not generally one that I think a lot about, but it's out there. Like I said, I think 95% of what I do is inner joins. The last 5, let's say 4.9% of it is left and right. And 0.1%, I'd have no idea what I'm doing. One thing that I didn't show you here, technically it's a right outer join. So you can actually include that outer there, but the word outer is optional, as opposed to inner join, right, which is only include the thing, everything that matches up. There you go. So I was right. It is a full outer join if you wanted to include everything. This is not going to be any different than our right outer join because there's nothing that exists in photos without recipes, because that wouldn't make any sense. We wouldn't have photos that don't have recipes. But if you did, full outer join would include both. In other words, full outer join is left plus right join, or left plus inner plus right, whatever you want to call that. So let's go look at, there's a really cool graphic I got from Wikipedia that's helpful to look at. This one right here. You can think of it like a Venn diagram. This is inner join, most of the time what you want between table A and table B. A right join includes everything in the middle plus everything that's not included in the left table but that exists in the right table. There's a left join here, and these top ones are most of what you're going to do most of the time. If for some reason you wanted to include, like you wanted to use a table to exclude something in there, like maybe you have like a user that has chosen to ignore a bunch of other users in their timeline, right? So you have this table that user A has ignored user B, C, and D, and you're trying to make their timeline. So what you would basically do is you do this right here, this right join, and then do a right A key is null, so you're just including the outer side of it. So you would exclude all of those people in the middle of the users that were ignored by user A, and get everyone for the rest of their timeline. That's how you would kind of do like that ignore list sort of pattern, right? Or deny list, or whatever you want to call it. Does that make sense? That's where you would use something like this. There's a full outer join where basically you can say like exclude everything where they overlap. This is the full outer join right here. We just looked at that rather, and vice versa there. So that's kind of the full possibility of joins. Again, this one's the most common. These two are a little bit more common. I fathomed the only example I can think of to do one of these, right? And yeah, cool. Any questions?
I'm still a little confused. So right join returns a bunch more stuff because it's the inner join plus what again?
So you're just saying, if you have a row that doesn't have something to match with it, what do you want to do? Do you want to include the right side? Do you want to include the left side? Do you want to include neither? Inner join is just include the inner part of the Venn diagram. Left and right is saying take from the left or take from the right, and then full is include everything.
And the left and right is basically the left side of the on or the right side of the on.
Left is going to be stuff from the from. Right is going to be stuff from the on.
Okay.
Yeah. But I have to check that every time because I can never remember. Usually I just run both queries and see what I want.
Is that opposite though? Because
It might be. See?
I think it might be opposite. Because we frommed on the recipes photos.
And we don't want to include those.
Yeah. So it was the. Oh my God. I'm confusing myself. Never mind.
Yeah, I'm also confusing myself too, and you are not helping. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
But theoretically, you could switch the from and if you switch the from and the on one, like which one you listed first, like you could still do from recipes instead of recipe photos, and then left join on recipe photos, and you would just switch the join direction
Yeah,
to get the same thing.
correct.